full moon on September 10th. Are you feeling the energy build? There's a bit of an anticipation, maybe even a little bit of anxiousness as the full moon comes into fruition. In Vedic astrology, happening in Aquarius, really calling us to our idealism around humanity. And we have this idea for society that we want to contribute. It's bringing our need and desire for our service, what we want to give back, our purpose expressed through our service, and how we do that with others. That's really coming to the surface. So you might have some question marks. You might feel that pull to do or launch something new, or that tap on your shoulder. Oh, I really need to get clear on that. It's also a time of transitioning ego, thoughts, and patterns into spirituality. So it's a great time for doing inner work. Hi, I'm Prema Gurreri, Vedic astrologer, business oracle, and welcome to Chart Your Path. I'm so glad you're here. If you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button, the bell notification, and you won't miss any of the updates. And feel free to take the Sacred Wealth Code Archetype quiz. If you don't know what one of your Sacred Wealth Code archetypes are, you'll get a great training, a free printout of what that is, and there's other great resources along with all my readings and courses down below. This full moon on September 10th is in Vedic astrology, the sign of Aquarius. It's at 23 degrees, and it is in the nakshatra of Bhadrapada. Now, this is really about our ideal, our ideals and our idealism for our social structures. It's ruled by Saturn, Aquarius is. And so Saturn's one of our social dharma planets and is always considering more of the collective, the whole, instead of the one, where Leo, opposite of the sign of Aquarius, where we had the new moon and started the lunar cycle, is really about the individuation of our purpose, our mission, the creativity around that, and how we bring our mission out in the world. Of course, we want to serve with that. As we're halfway through the cycle here is where we get to reflect back and really step into a greater understanding of how, and a call, really a deep heart call of how do we serve with our purpose? How do we serve with our mission? Now, at the same time that the full moon is happening, we've got Mercury stationing and just going retrograde. Now, this Mercury retrograde I talk about in the September update, so you can listen to that in order to get all the details about that. It's aspected by Jupiter. There is this really a deep wisdom that can come through. It's a really good retrograde in the fact that it's in Virgo. Mercury, the great communicator and merchant, are exalted there. And of course, it's going to have its bumps on the beginning and the end, and there's some special dates that I mentioned in the September update. So this is just a very potent period of time as we're having a shift. So if you do feel stressed at all whenever we have shifts, it's usually when we have these, it brings up more unexpected things, and sometimes that can be stressful. But overall, this is a very pivotal and interesting and very good period of time. It's really calling forth from you to really take a look at what it is that you're here to give, and how is that going to really make the bigger impact on humanity? Not just what it does for you personally. That in this placement of this full moon is not really enough. It's like, how does my purpose, mission, my service, what I have to give, how does that really contribute to the whole? Where do I fit in? How do I help create the ideal, the collective? And this is a really important piece for us because service gives us a great sense of fulfillment. This is where we want to leave a legacy. And Purva Bhadrapada is a nakshatra, of course, within the sign of Aquarius, but it also straddles Pisces. It's like the bridge between Aquarius and Pisces. And so it's this place of, what are we giving back? And then before we transition into the sort of the dissolution of things of Pisces and remembering, we're part of the one and part of the whole. So it's a really interesting and potent placement, and a lot can come up for us here. So I really want to encourage you to really notice, what's been really sort of tapping you on the shoulder or really calling you and pulling at you, like there's something that you want to give back, whether that's through your business, the work that you're doing, through a project, or your purpose that you may or may not have figured out yet. This is a time to really sit with that, because it's a potent time for the wisdom, the divine messages to come through and help you to articulate that, not only what that is, but more so, how does that fit into the puzzle of things? And we need to be able to connect with others. We've come through some very fragmented times as far as coming through these last 3 years, really, and has pulled us as communities apart in a lot of ways. And so it is really asking us to come together collectively. And then Venus, the great connector, is also in Leo during this time, aspecting this full moon. So it's also bringing up for us this community sense of, okay, well, how do I get together with others and be able to play my part, use my gifts to give what I'm here to give, to be of service, to make my ripple in the collective. So I really encourage you to take the time during this full moon to reflect on those things. The moon reflecting the light of the soul, the light of the sun, and you've got this Mercury retrograde happening at this time. So really taking that time in meditation and journaling, and also, we have another aspect that's really going to help us connect with the divine messages, which I'm going to talk about in just a moment. I want to finish up around the Purva Bhadrapada energy here. Now, it not only does it straddle Aquarius and Pisces, it's known as the two front legs of the funeral cot or the bed, and that's really representational of the ego death. The death of just, the ego, and going back and being with the collective, and then coming back into the oneness of all on a metaphorical level. It does have the symbolism also of the sword. It can really cut through things. It can be quite fiery. The stars, Macabre and Sheet, are stars in the body of Pegasus that are within this nakshatra. And Pisces is about transcendence of the world. And so what do we want to give the world before we transcend the world is really what Purva Bhadrapada is so much about. How are we contributing socially, as I've been saying. So I really want you to sit with that. And I'd love for you to post that here in the comments. What are you contributing, or what are you being really called to contribute socially that affects the collective? Even if that's something that's really an idealism, because even if we can't reach that, we're shooting for that, and that means we are moving past what the norm is now. So bringing that out in the world, transcending our egos. We need community. We need each other to do that. Who are your soul brothers and sisters? Who can you connect with in order to bring that forward? So we can come in and connect in tighter and move forward with people who are resonant with us. We all are like a tapestry, and we all thread together. And so we need to find our communities and come together. So we're transitioning from our identity and what we want to leave to the world as we go into what is beyond this physical world. So take the time, sit in meditation, tune in to what that is for you. And and I'd love to hear what comes up for you. Now, the deity that's represented here is Aja Ekapada, who is worshipped as a form of Shiva, and is transported on the vehicle of Agni, the god of fire. It gives rise to the spiritual person. It gives rise to them in life, in this dimension. So it's taking that, again, like the purpose and what's on your heart, and helping you to bring that forward. It gives us a strong urge to, again, live into that vision of the future. This deity does. And as I said, can be quite, we can be quite opinionated and live outside the social norms here, really walking to the beat of your own drummer. So the ways that you have been holding yourself back in your uniqueness or your new ideas, or the ways you don't fit in, this is a great time to tune into that and own those parts of yourself, because fitting in is I'm going to say it's compromising. There's a place for compromise, but fitting in a lot of times means settling, or it means denying a part of ourselves That's not what this energy is about. It's about really owning your uniqueness and how can you give that to the world in a way that is going to shift the paradigm. Now, the shadow side of this nakshatra can be impulsive and anxious and sometimes harsh with words. So watch your communication during the full moon. And if you feel really impulsive about doing something, I encourage you just to use your spiritual practice, use your yoga, use your breath, breathe through it, and then move with intention after the full moon. Now, in the day after the full moon, and then for 2 weeks, we have Pritupashu, which is all about honoring our ancestors. And it's a wonderful time to really receive those messages from those who have gone before us, our ancestors, but also think of that as really receiving messages from your guides. Your Sacred Wealth Code is part of your guides, but your spirit guides on all the different levels, whether that's angels for you, whether that's the different deities, whether that's, you channel, whatever that might be for you. Open up and get those messages that come from beyond. It's a very, very potent time for that. I so appreciate you being here. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're here to give. And also, if you are interested in having a reading and how all these aspects, the full moon, the transits for the year, your Sacred Wealth Code, how all of that aspects you, my readings are down below, as well as if you want to move your work out in the world, or you want to do that from the inside out and really make that shift and bridge both the spiritual world and the material world with the work, with what you're here to do, then check out the Solutionary Blueprint below. All right. So much love to you.